Hey guys, alright, didn't really quite prepare for this video, but because battery on the camera is low, I should have charged it last night. Nonetheless, this shouldn't take too long. So, today's project for my 2005 Grand Prix, naturally aspirated, it's the base model, is to clean the MAF sensor. MAF sensor is located here. You'll know the mass airflow sensor because it goes from the inbox and into your intake. It'll be in line with this tube, and it's right here. A couple things to know on the Grand Prix. This whole plastic tube and where the connector is the whole sensor. The sensor part is right this, but when you order, if you have to reorder the part, it's going to be this whole thing. Most cars, it's a couple of screws that hold it in. You pop it out, clean it, put it back in. Hope for the best. I say hope for the best because if you damage this, you may end up replacing it because your computer will not be able to read how much air is going into the intake, so you can calculate, fuel to air ratio and all that fun stuff. What you'll need: 10mm socket to undo the battery. Anytime I do something with electronics, especially a lot of this stuff is like 5 volts or maybe even lower, I don't want a chance shocking it. So unplug the battery, let it sit for about a minute. It should, power off any capacitors or whatever else that might be. I'm new to this, so if I sound ignorant, it's because I am. 5/16 for the hose clamp. You'll take off this side of the airbox and unplug the hose there. Pull this out. Make sure you do the cable first and just do it very carefully. You'll need a flathead, and then most important part, I got this, oops, sorry guys, I have this set from Walmart. Basically third cans, half cans, small cans, enough to do one job. So for the mass airflow sensor, you want to make sure you use mass airflow sensor cleaner. This stuff is delicate for plastics, but it'll do the job. It'll also dry almost immediately. You still probably want to give it about 10 minutes after you do the cleaning just to make sure it completely evaporates before starting the car back up. And then this is your TBI and air intake cleaner. Chances are, if your airflow sensor is dirty, a lot of those particulates and oil and gunk went into your intake, and that's dirty too. Alright, so let me disconnect the battery and I'll start working on this. I'm trying to make this a short video rather than one of my long rambling ones, and hopefully come out with a good video. See you in a minute. Alright, as typical with me, I end up having some little issues. Took me a second to figure this out. So disconnect the cable. This little part here that's gray, just carefully use a screw to kind of help slide it back. There you go. And then what I did, I went ahead and just kind of pried this up a little bit and took it off. Is it necessary? I have no idea. Does it make my life easier? Yes, it does. And this goes back in fairly easily. Now to unplug the cables, now you can push down on this little plastic lever here. Just be careful, and then just kind of jiggle it on the way out. And ta-da! That's out. Now it's safe. Just kind of get it out of the way. This car only has 110,000 miles, but it is 15 plus years old. Here we are coming on to 2021. So just be careful with all your plastics, all your cables. Everything, as age, heat, everything starts getting more brittle, easier to break. One other thing you have to do, let me move this camera here a bit, that I discovered, this part here is part of the PCV system. This is the PCV hose. The PCV valve is actually on the other side of the engine. So just disconnect this, because this is a hard plastic, and you don't want a chance breaking it. So I mean, that one's relatively new. I just replaced it. The video sucks, so I'm gonna talk about it in a future video. but you know, that's new. The old one was fine. I said, you know what, I might as well just go ahead and replace it. It's like an $8 part. But that's neither here nor there. Alright. So you have this hose. Since I'm going to clean the intake, I'm going to go ahead and take off this, you know, loosen up this side. I started to do this side, but let me tighten it back down. Alright, how's the visibility on this? Hold on. It kind of sucks. Let me stop it because my camera is old and sucks, but I can score it back a little bit. Hold on. Alright, back at it. Alright, make sure you don't lose this. Put it on my toolbox. Alright, so out this comes. There's 4 teeth at the bottom that kind of intersect. That just comes out. Be careful with this part. That's the motor control for the intake. You break this, it becomes very expensive. Alright, and just like that. Oh, what am I hung up on? Okay, the PCB hose. There it is. Looks smidge dirty. Should be kind of shiny. And then, well, I'll take off the hose here now that it's safe to do so, and I'll walk this outside and we'll go from there. Alright guys, I'm back outside. I'm not going fully outside because I'm under a bit of an overhang and it's starting to sprinkle. So right there is your airflow sensor. You have, if you can make them out, there's these little connectors between some of those sticks coming up, and you know, those get electrolyzed as air passes them, so if they get dirty, then, you know, it starts giving you false readings. And one of the things I'm noticing on my car is my gas mileage really is the biggest factor. It's starting to suck. I'm averaging about 16. That's between city and highway and general driving. I should be getting closer to 22. If I want to get that with this, I don't know. I could have some other issues, but for right now, I'm just trying to do everything on the cheap side that I can. Maintenance, because I guarantee you this hasn't been cleaned. I'm the second owner on this car. Anyways, so once again, only the mass airflow cleaner. You just give it a bit of a spray. It looks like there's a little part in here, kind of a window. Clean the grill. And like I said, I'm going to use up probably the whole can. Let me just get it from this side too. You see how it's, I mean, it might be misleading, but it looks like it's brightening up already. It doesn't look like so smoky. That could be just a fluid, you know, reflecting back. I don't know. But I'm just going to use this whole damn thing. And you want to be, you know, a little bit, you don't want to touch that stuff. They're very delicate. You break it, you end up buying a new one. I mean, your car will run without a MAF sensor, but it'll run like shit. Pardon my language. It won't run well. Clean some of the plastic. Clean some of the inside here. More inside. I don't know what this channel is, but go ahead and get that. Alright. I think that's as good enough as this is going to get. Now I'm going to give this, you know, you go online and some of the videos and they say about 10 minutes. I'm going to give it a full half hour. I might just go ahead and change the oil in my car. Wait for this to completely dry. And I'm not going to take an air hose to it to kind of help accelerate things. You know, again, those little connectors in between, you know, you got too much pressure on it. Boom. Snap off. You're buying a new one. This part, I think for my car it's around $80. Money I don't want to spend, but I know for other vehicles they can be a lot more expensive. So, alright, I'm going to pause this now. and then I'll show you the rest of it in a minute. Alright guys, so funny little story. Sorry you didn't get to witness it, but I went to check my air filter. It's a little dirty, but it ain't too bad. But you know what's funny? Is that inside the air box, a ton of leaves. We just got past fall. We're coming up on winter here in Georgia, so if you feel your car's kind of slowing down, check your air box for leaves. Or if you live in, I don't know, any kind of environment where, you know, you have quite a bit of debris, you know, just floating around. Oh man, okay. Anyway, what you're seeing there is the intake. Now in a 2005, it is electronic. So you don't want to touch the flapper and start trying to push it. This has little motors. A lot of the teeth are plastic. You do that, you break the teeth, you're basically replacing all this, and it's not worth the while. Properly do it, and I don't have the time for it today. So take 4 bolts off. I think they're all 10 millimeters. This one's shallow, and which are actual bolts that come out. On the bottom, you'll need deep sockets to take the nuts out, and just be careful you don't lose them going down on top of the transmission and anything else. But for the time being, you can see some of the black. This probably needs to be done properly. I'm just going to give this a quick whirl, and I'm not going to use the hose, but have yourself ready some paper towels, and you can spray the dickens out of it. Now, I will tell you this, I have cleaned this once before, not properly, just what I'm doing now. It's a rough start, but it gets over itself really quick. The MAF sensor part, a little bit different. Just go in and you wipe the throttle body here, but just don't push on that flap. See how the fluid's kind of got browny? You know, the stuff that comes out of this is clear. But I'm just going to give this a light toot so it starts going clear like you see there, and I'm going to stop. I don't want to flood this thing with throttle body cleaner, which is the correct material that I'm using. But yeah, last time I did this, I gave it a good bearing down, and it's like, you know, it's like real hard start. But it cleared itself out. MAF sensor being cleared. You're gonna have to drive it for a day or two because the computer's gonna have to kind of relearn it. Anytime you mess with something, like I changed the PCV valve, it sits up over here. I don't know if you can see. That's the MAF sensor, the manifold air pressure sensor. Underneath it is the PCV valve, which buy the kit if you're going to replace it. Don't just get the PCV valve. It comes with the springs, the O-rings. It's a bit of a job, and I'll redo it when I get around to changing out the MAF sensor, if I ever do. But for now, that's clean. I'm going to let it dry out. I'm still letting the MAF sensor clean out, dry out, and then let's take a look at this. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. So, alright, let me stop it here. When I get ready to put everything back together, we'll go from there. Alright, so I guess we'll just keep it from this angle. Probably move this, get better light. Once again, so I was wrong. 5 teeth. Got 5 notches at the bottom of it. Push the air filter back a little bit, and then this just snaps in place. Before I reconnect, I'm going to go ahead and connect the hose. Look for this notch. That's going to tell you it goes by the intake, because that's where that goes into. So, slide that in. Slide. Well, I've seen other car guys, they put a little silicone grease or something just to kind of help it, but it didn't go in It went in without too much of a fuss. This is butted up against it. 5/16. Tighten them both down. Snug. Don't have to go nuts on this. Doesn't do any good to clean the MAF if you're going to have a vacuum leak after the MAF, because then it's going to throw off your air fuel mixture. Typically make it run lean. What we have now with the dirty mass airflow filter is that the car has a habit of running rich, because it thinks there's less air coming in, so it's compensating. And when you actually have just enough air, but you have too much fuel to kind of help to make up for it, or something like that. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a guy who likes to save money working on his own stuff when he's able to. So this, you're gonna be very careful. Should click. Awesome sauce. And then, hoping y'all can see this. I think I got it positioned okay. And this, come on, go into the hot guides. There we go. And that little lock gets pushed all the way in. Alright, so that's in, that's in, that's in. Air filter's back in, air box is cleaned out. Take this off. Little slot, slide down here. Alright, so I'm going to connect the battery. You don't really want to watch that, it's simple. And let's see what happens. It's a little dark, my apologies. Alright, check engine light went off. Turn off the cruise control. Well, I can tell you the RPMs are a little lower. They're normally about 1500 at this time, and then once it gets into a closed loop, it'll drop down to hopefully around 800, 900, give or take. But car started. All right, mission accomplished. Awesome sauce. Thanks for watching, guys. Well, when I get around to properly cleaning the intake, I will let you know. I might do even an oil change, just kind of for those of, happy to pass on any knowledge that I do have, what little there is, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later.